Recently, Blizzard officially announced Dragonriding, or Dynamic Flight as it'll be called in the future, coming to a 3-digit amount of old regular flying mounts. It's gonna be mostly mounts with the same skeleton as the current Dragonriding mounts, and then some other mounts as well. Thanks to data mining, we already know some of these mounts, and that's the ones with the same model as the renewed Proto Drake, the Highland Drake, the Windborn, the Drake. So in this video, I'll cover all of the currently obtainable mounts that we know for sure is gonna get dragon riding in the new expansion and how to get each and every one of them. I'll be making a part 2 for the rest of the mounts as soon as data mining allows us to know exactly which are included, but it's probably gonna be mounts with the same model as the Cliffside Wilder Drake and the Winding Slither Drake, and on top of those, some of the more popular flying mounts like horses, like Invincible, and phoenixes like Ashes of Allah. Anyway, let's get into the first 62 mounts that'll level up to become dynamic flight mounts soon. I'll split the mounts up into sections according to how you obtain them, but feel free to use the timestamps to jump around to the specific mounts that you want. The first mounts we'll take a look at are all the mounts that drop from something, so raid drop mounts, dungeon drop mounts, Rarespawn mounts, and event mounts. And the very first mount on our list is the Bronze Drake. This mount is a 100% drop chance from a time event boss in the heroic version of the dungeon, the Culling of Stratholm. Head to the Caverns of Time, set your dungeon difficulty to heroic, and enter the dungeon. Follow the directions of the dungeon, it is pretty straightforward, and you'll have plenty of time as long as you are max level, as everything will get one shot by you. When you've completed most of the dungeon, you want to head left just before the room of the last boss, and here you'll find a bonus boss, the Infinite Corruptor, as long as you completed the dungeon fast enough. Kill the guy and loot your reins of the Bronze Drake. Next up, we have the Blue Proto Drake. This mount is a 1% drop chance from the third boss in Utgard Pinnacle, which is located right here in Northrend. It only drops on heroic mode, so you can kill this once per day per character. Next, we have the Vitreous Stone Drake. This is also a 1% drop chance mount from the second boss of the Stone Core, which is located here in Deepholm. You'll find a portal in your capital city to Deepholm. This mount drops on normal mode, so you can simply farm this over and over up to 10 times an hour for a chance at the mount. Then we have the Drake of the North Wind. Another 1% drop chance mount from the second boss Altyrus in the Vortex Pinnacle, which can be found in Uldum at this location. This mount drops on normal mode as well, so you can simply farm this one over and over up to 10 times an hour. Another dungeon drop is the Smoldering Ember Wyrm. This can be found in the Legion version of Karazhan. It drops from a secret boss with a plus 20% drop chance for each person in the group. Meaning, if you go solo, you have a 20% drop chance. If you go as 2 people, you'll have a 40% drop chance, and that is to get 1 mount only, and so on. So, if you have a full group, you will 100% get a drop, but only 1 person can then get the mount. To unlock the boss, you'll have to click 5 crystals inside Karazhan within a timer, and then head to the spawn location. I'll let this clip run out so you can see my exact route and where to find the crystals and the boss. Feel free to skip to the next timestamp if you're not doing the mount right now. Subscribe. 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 God damn it. Subscribe. Next one on the list is a little harder to get. It is the final dungeon drop, and we're talking about the Infinite Timereaver. This mount drops from any boss when in a time walking dungeon. Check your calendar to see when the next time walking event is on and get grinding. The drop rate is extremely low, and you'll probably not see one until you're in the kill count of 1,000 or more, unless you're really lucky. You can also get it from the Quantum Courser from the Mega Dungeon Dawn of the Infinite, which has a 1% drop chance from the last boss. I believe either way of obtaining requires about the same amount of grind and luck, so it's totally up to you. Let's move on to the raid drop mounts. First we have the Azure Drake and the Blue Drake. They both drop from Malygos in the Eye of Eternity raid located in Northrend at this location. They've got about a 3% drop chance, so slightly higher than most raid mounts, and can be farmed once a week per character. Moving on, we have the Twilight and Black Drake. To get these, head to Old Dalaran in Northrend via a portal in your faction's capital city. Fly south to the middle of the Dragonblight zone and find the entrance for the raid called Obsidian Sanctum. Right-click your portrait and set legacy raid size to 10 player for the Black Drake and 25 player for the Twilight Drake. Enter the raid and head straight to the big dragon in the middle and one-shot it. The mounts have a 100% drop chance as long as you don't kill anything else in the raid before the boss. If you need both mounts, you can either log onto another character and do the other difficulty that you did not do before, or you can wait for the weekly reset to do the other difficulty. Another raid drop is the Onyxian Drake. This drops from Onyxia in Onyxia's lair in Kalimdor at this location. It's got a 1% drop chance and can be farmed weekly on each character. Next, we have the Drake of the South Wind. This drops from the raid Throne of the Four Winds from Alakir. It's located in Uldum at this location, and the mount has a 1% drop chance and can be farmed once a week. Next, we have 3 drakes from the raid Dragon Soul. We have Experiment 12B, Blazing Drake, and Lifebinder's Handmaiden. Dragon Soul can be found in the Caverns of Time at this location. Experiment 12B drops from Ultraxion on both normal and heroic difficulty with a 1% drop chance. Blazing Drake drops from Madness of Deathwing on both normal and heroic difficulty with a 1% drop chance as well. And Lifebinder's Handmaiden also drops from Madness of Deathwing, but only on heroic difficulty. This raid can be farmed once a week per character. Next up, we have the Pureblood Firehawk. This one drops from Ragnaros in Firelands, which is located in Mount Hujal in Kalimdor at this location. Ragnaros is the last boss, so to reach him fast, you can use this hidden skip where you engage Elystrasaur, wait for 3 feathers to drop, pick them up, gain the ability to fly, one-shot Elystrasaur and fly this specific route on screen to bypass the walls, and boom, you'll end up at the second last boss without having to clear the entire raid. The Pureblood Firehawk has a 1% drop chance from both normal and heroic Firelands, so you can clear it twice per character per week. Let's move on to the Rarespawn drop mounts, and we'll start off with the Phosphorescent Stone Drake. This mount is a 100% drop mount from the Rarespawn Ionax in Deepholm. This Rarespawn has a very long spawn timer, up to 8 hours, and it circles the whole zone. The easiest way to find this bad boy is having a character on a low population realm, preferably also in Chromie time. Then you simply check the zone now and then. Also, there is a portal to your main capital city in the hub in the middle of Deepholm that you can use to jump between War Mode on and War Mode off to check both of those layers. The next mount is also a very rare spawn, the infamous Time Lost Proto Drake. This mount is also a 100% drop chance from the Time Lost Proto Drake in Storm Peaks in Northrend. This rare spawn has about a 6-hour respawn. However, it also shares spawn with another rare that does not drop the mount, And the Time Lost Proto Drake is the one to spawn just about 1/10 of the times. So you're looking at a spawn every 60 hours. These are the spawn points and the routes for the Time Lost Proto Drake. I can recommend making groups for this so you can be at all spawn points and using a character on a low population realm. I also recommend joining the Secret Finding and Collections Discord, as they have a rare report tab and mount tab where people occasionally share the rare if they find it. I'll leave a link in the description. Next up, we have the Drake of the Four Winds. This guy drops from Ishak of the Four Winds in Uldum at this location with about a 3% drop chance. The rare can be killed daily on every character. Let's move on to the Hulking Deathroc. This mount has a chance to drop off of a rare called Violet Mistake. Violet Mistake can be spawned in this pool here in Maldraxxus in the Shadowlands. To spawn the Violet Mistake, you must put different colored ooze into the pool, and specifically to spawn the Violet Mistake, you have to preserve the correct combination of ooze. So this is the combination. So you'll need an equal amount of blues and reds, and there have to be more blue and red than yellows. These are the possible combinations. It can be a bit tedious to gather all the ooze for yourself, so I suggest gathering a group or get help from some friends if you have any. And if you don't, you can subscribe, leave a like, or become a member of my channel, and then one day maybe we can become friends. Thankfully, the mount has quite a high drop chance of 4% and can be done daily on each character. Last but not least of the Rarespawn drops, we have the Predatory Plagueroc. This mount is a drop from a rare called Geiger, located in Maldraxxus as well at this location. To summon this rare, you'll have to be part of the Necrolord's Covenant and then activate the Anima Conductor in the Seat of the Primus, which is the base of the Necrolords, and channel Anima into the House of Constructs. You then head to the location of the rare and you'll be able to pull this string right here and kill the rare. The drop chance for this mount is about 2%. Let's continue with some event mount drops, and first we have two mounts from Island Expeditions. The Twilight Avenger and the Island Thunderscale. As mentioned, they can both drop from Mythic Island expeditions. To sign up for an island expedition, head to either Borealis or Dazar'Alor at these locations. You'll be able to talk to an NPC and queue for island expeditions. Also, while doing island expeditions, you'll gain a currency called Seafarer's Doubloons. These can be used to buy containers with a chance at the mounts as well. The containers are on a weekly rotation from a vendor nearby where you queue up, and the containers you'll want to buy to have a chance at these two specific mounts are the Crestfall Salvage for the Twilight Avenger and the Yorundal Salvage has a chance for both the Twilight Avenger and the Island Thunderscale. The containers have about a 7 to 10% drop chance for mounts, and the island expeditions themselves about a 1%. The next event mounts are the Scourge-bound Vanquisher and the Fellstorm Dragon from Time Rifts. Time Rifts are a rather new public event that occurs in Thaldraszus at this location once every hour on the clock. When participating in the event, you'll face a boss at the end, which has a chance to grant you a mount, but you also gather a currency called Paracausal Flakes, which you need 3,000 of to purchase a Time Rift mount of your choice. The most time-efficient way to get flakes is by simply doing the event once a week and complete the weekly quest, which will grant you 1,000 flakes. You can also just grind the event every hour for about 500 to 750 flakes every time. Let's move on to the reputation mounts, starting with the Netherwing Drakes. We have 6 in total. The Azure Netherwing Drake, the Cobalt Netherwing Drake, the Onyx Netherwing Drake, the Purple Netherwing Drake, the Viridian Netherwing Drake, and the Violet Netherwing Drake. To obtain these 6 drakes, you'll need to reach Exalted with the Netherwing faction. You can begin your journey to Exalted Reputation by picking up the quest chain offered by Mordinai, who is a blood elf wandering the Netherwing Fields in the southeast corner of Shadowmoon Valley, right here. The quest chain begins with the quest Kindness. Completion of this quest line will provide an instant reputation boost to neutral, and after completing the chain, you will have to swear your fealty to the Netherwing. This will grant you a Dragonmaw Fell Orc disguise when you enter the Netherwing Lodge right here, and allow you to communicate and work with the Dragonmaw station there. You'll get an intro quest that will lead you to the island as well, and completing this quest will unlock all the daily quests that you will be working on to increase your Netherwing reputation. Or you can try to find as many Netherwing eggs as you possibly can. I recommend getting the add-on Netherwing eggs and fly around and checking every spot for an egg after doing the dailies, as they give quite a chunk of rep. I would do this in war mode as there is not as many people there. Next up, we have the Red Drake from getting exalted with the Wyrm Wrist Accord. To gain reputation with this faction, you can complete the one-time quests in the hubs of Borean Tundra and Dragonblight at these locations. Also dailies from here, and once your friendly status, you can purchase the Tabard of the Wyrm Wrist Accord and simply spam Utgard Pinnacle or other Wrath heroic dungeons for reputation. Moving on, we have the Green Proto Drake. This mount is a 5% drop chance from an item called Mysterious Egg. This can be bought once revered with the Wrath faction, the Oracles. To unlock the reputation, you'll have to kill the cat Pitch at this location, then complete quite a long quest chain, and ultimately choose the Oracles over the Frenzy Heart tribe faction. Once the long quest chain is complete, you'll do dailies in their hub at this location until revered. Once revered, purchase an egg whenever you can, wait 7 days for it to hatch, and pray to the RNG gods for the green Proto Drake. The drop chance is increased if you're subbed to this channel. Next up, we have the Drake of the West Wind. This mount comes from being exalted with Baradin's Wardens for Alliance or Hellscream's Reach for Horde, and then gathering 200 Tol Barad commendations. You can head to Tol Barad from a portal in your faction's main capital, either Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and simply start picking up dailies. You can get around 10 commendations a day, and you'll reach exalted before you get 200 commendations. So that's basically it. Moving on to a Draenor expansion reputation, we have the Corrupted Dreadwing. This mount can be purchased once friendly with the Order of the Awakened for 150,000 Apexis crystals. To gain the rep, you can kill rares and loot treasures in Tanaan Jungle to complete the daily quest Unseen Influence. This also gives you a few Apexis crystals, and there is a ton of ways to get Apexis crystals. I'll have a link in the description to a very helpful Wowhead comment that lists all of the ways you can get Apexis crystals, as it would take up way too much time of this video. Moving on to Legion, we have the Valarjar Stormwing. This mount has a chance to drop from the supply boxes from the Valarjar factions. Supply boxes are obtained after every 10,000 reputation you get after reaching Exalted with the faction. I recommend simply doing the calling for the factions whenever it is up, which requires you to complete 4 world quests, and then you'll get an extra 1,500 reputation. Next up, we have some BFA reputation mounts, starting with the Spectral Pterrorwing. This mount is Horde only, unfortunately, and it can be bought for 72,000 gold once reaching Exalted with the Sandalari Empire. Gaining reputation with these are relatively simple. Simply quest through Sultazar, and after reaching friendly, you'll unlock world quests. Once again, I recommend just doing the callings whenever they pop up for the least time-consuming way of gaining reputation. From the very same reputation, we have the Cobalt Pterrordax as well for just 10,000 gold, but also a Horde only mount. And yet another Horde only mount is the Captured Swamp Stalker. Purchasable for 72,000 gold once reaching Exalted with the faction Talanji's Expedition. Just like the Sandalari Empire faction, you'll have to quest through Nazmir till friendly, and then you can do world quests and callings. The last of the Horde-only mounts from BFA is the Voldunai Dunescraper. This can also be bought for 72,000 gold once Exalted with the Voldunai. To gain reputation, it's the same procedure as the other factions. Quest till friendly in Vol'dun and unlock world quests, and then just do the callings. Our last reputation mount is from Shadowlands, and it is the Colossal Slaughterclaw. This mount can be looted from supply caches from the Undying Army. Once again, they are obtained from gaining 10,000 reputation after reaching Exalted. I suggest just doing the callings once they're up every now and then. This video really took a long time to make, and if you like it so far, I'd really appreciate if you'd support me in any way you see fit. A sub and a like cost you nothing, but it really helps me out. Thank you so much. Let's move on. The next category of mounts are the quest mounts, and we'll start with the class-specific warrior mount, the Battlelord's Bloodthirsty Warwyrm. The TLDR version of how to obtain this mount is pretty simple. You'll need to complete the Class Hall campaign questline and complete the Core of the Broken Shore questline. Once you've done that, you'll get a quest called a Godly Invitation at this location in the Broken Shore. Complete this in the Warrior class hall and you'll be given the Trial of Rage scenario, where you have to defeat some easy peasy enemies, complete the scenario, and the mount will be granted to you. For an in-depth run through of the quests, I've left a link in the description to a very useful Wowhead comment so you won't get lost. Another class mount that is getting dragon riding is the Death Knight's class mount, the Deathlord's Vilebrood Vanquisher. Once again, you'll need to complete both the Class Hall campaign for the Death Knight and the Broken Shore questline, and then pick up the starter quest Amal Thassad's Message in the Broken Shore, and complete the Lost Glacier scenario, and the mount will be given to you. The last one of the quest's mounts are the Scarlet Pterrordax. Simply reach level 30 on a Horde character and visit Dazar'Alor, and you'll get the quest A Time to Fly. Just hand it in and you'll get your mount. The next section of mounts coming to dragon riding is the achievement mounts, and we're starting off with the Albino Drake from leading the cavalry, requiring you to obtain 50 unique mounts usable by a single character. The Felfire Hawk from Mountacular, requiring you to obtain 250 unique mounts usable by a single character. The Emerald Drake from Awake the Drakes requires you to obtain 9 other Drake mounts: the Azure Drake, the Blue Drake, the Bronze Drake, the Red Drake, the Blazing Drake, Onyxian Drake, Purple Netherwing Drake, Black Drake, and Twilight Drake, all of which has been explained how to obtain earlier in this video. Next is the Violet Proto Drake from What a Long, Strange Trip It's Been. This is the complete holiday meta achievement where you have to complete pretty much all achievements for all holidays during the year. I'll have a link to a full guide for this in the description, as it would take an hour in this video. For this next chapter of the video, we're covering the Glory Achievement mounts. However, for the sake of the length of this video, I'll simply be showing you the mounts and leaving a link to a full Glory Achievement guide in the description for all of them. Otherwise, this video would be about 5 hours long, unfortunately, but I've linked what I find to be the very best guides out there. Anyway, first, we have the Red Proto Drake from Glory of the Hero. Next up, we have the Rusted Proto Drake and the Ironbound Proto Drake from Glory of the Ulduar Raider. Then we have the Icebound Frostbrood Vanquisher and the Bloodbathed Frostbrood Vanquisher from Glory of the Icecrown Raider. We then have the Volcanic Stone Drake from Glory of the Cataclysm Hero, the Drake of the Eastwind from Glory of the Cataclysm Raider, the Corrupted Firehawk from Glory of the Firelands Raider, the Twilight Harbinger from the Glory of the Dragonsoul Raider, the Armored Skyscreamer from Glory of the Thundering Raider, Spawn of Galakras from the Glory of the Orgrimmar Raider, and lastly Dazar'Alor Windreaver from Glory of the Dazar'Alor Raider. We then have a single profession mount, and it is the Bonesewn Fleshroc from Abominable Stitching. This is obtained by pledging to the Necrolord Covenant, then upgrading the Stitch Shard to rank 5 and crafting it with mats earned by doing some dailies in the Stitch Shard and 3,500 anima. The very last section of mounts are the purchasable mounts. We only have 3 of these getting dragon riding, and the first one is the Sandstone Drake. Simply buy this one off of the auction house. I promise you the grind to craft it yourself is not worth it. Trust me. The second mount is the Mottled Drake. This is a TCG mount and can be found on the auction house as well, and possibly on a future Twitch drop. And last but not least, we have the Obsidian Worldbreaker. This one can be found on the black market auction house every now and then. There is a lot more mounts coming to dragon riding, but they are all like old gladiator dragon mounts, so they are unobtainable, and I will not cover them in this video, unfortunately. But that was it for this video. That's all the mounts, and thank you very much for watching. Please consider leaving a like, a sub, or even become a member for only $3 a month if you want to support me in making even more of these videos in the future, as it really helps me out. Remember, I will be making a part 2 of this video when we know what other mounts will get dynamic flight. Once again, thank you very much. Bye.